Jail 8, number 13 by Yale Stewart. Okay, class, it's quiet reading time. Please find a book on the bookshelf. I call the book about space. Yes, and Calvin and Hobbes. Dang it, Barry. May I please request a book of mysteries? Ooh. I'm sorry, Clark. Did you want this book? Oh, it's okay, Diana. You can have it. I don't mind. Oh, Clark. You're so nice. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Ash on Comics. Today's comic is Martian Manhunter. Want to know a secret? It's a cool cover. I do really like these covers of this book. Gerard Way of Doom Patrol and Umbrella Academy fame says, far out concepts and wild imagination, one of the best marriages of word, art, color, and lettering I have seen in a long time. A fantastic team making a great book, and Steve Orlando has my favorite brains in comics. Don't miss this. All right, Gerard, I did read your Umbrella Academy, and I was pretty impressed. What about this book? Well, I've been liking this book. I don't really know squat about Martian Manhunter, and as many of you might know, I'm kind of a noob to DC. So for me, this has been a fun ride. This is a unique take on the character. I know the art is pretty much a breaking point or a deal breaker for many people. I don't need to really review the art because you can kind of see it here for yourself. The book keeps flipping back and forth to past Mars and present Earth, where John Jones is doing his thing. So whenever you see Mars, it's the past because the Martians have all been wiped out. And they're talking about this disease that wiped them all out. And we have different kinds of Martians. We have the greens, the white skins, which is this guy here. And it's very much a class society and different, I guess the different types look down on others. There's a little bit of a social commentary to be had here, but it's not really heavy-handed. And I got to kind of applaud Steve Orlando for not doing that. He does interject a little bit of metaphor and, like I said, some social commentary about things, but he's really not preaching at you. And for a gay writer who is obviously probably very leftist, it's refreshing. So I'm not really going to go over the plot of this book. I'm going to let you kind of just see some of the pages here and the art. We get to see John Jones as a manhunter, which is basically a Martian cop. And we see this gangster guys who are talking about the virus and stuff, and he's just like, I want you, no, he's like, I want to know more. Tell me more about this. And he just wants his family off the planet. So he's kind of corrupt during this time. And that's one of the things that I'm finding interesting about this character is that he was a bad cop. And he lost everything. He lost his family, he lost his planet, society, and everything. And this is a character who is having to come to terms with the wrong decisions in his life. And he knows it. You're kind of seeing contrast between this John Jones and the John Jones that's living on Earth. And here we have another twisted sex scene. I don't know why. They had a sex scene in the first book, and then there's in the second. It's okay. So whatever. And then after sex, they fight because he's holding things back from her, and they're like union, and he's using the excuse of their kids. They can't share their link because it'll infect their kids and blah, blah. But obviously he can't share the link because he's hiding. So it was corruption. So back on Earth, we have John Jones in his human form. And this is the cop that's trying to now be a good cop. He's trying to make up for all the wrongs and be the cop he should have been the whole time. And he's just living with his own guilt because there's no one really to judge him, right? There's no one on Mars to be like, oh, you were bad. It's just him. He knows. And this is what separates him and kind of makes him somewhat of a, he is a hero. Because here's a guy that doesn't have to answer to anyone. He could just go on and be a corrupt cop here and carry on as he was doing, but he doesn't. He understands, oh shit, like I have a fresh start here. I can make choices differently, and he is. So that's how you're able to, as a reader, find redemption in the character and believe in him and back him, even though he's kind of, started off as a bad guy. So he's on the case, and this is a mystery-oriented book. It's a detective story. I hear a lot of people say they wish Batman would be more like these type of stories. So seeing this book from Steve tells me maybe Steve should write some Batman books, because this is all one big detective case. It started off in a murder in the first book, and so Johns has telepathy, and the iguana, Spaceman, I think was his name, they found the collar, saw things. And so he's trying to track down the iguana so that he can have like a little mind meld thing. And here we get a picture of how the iguana sees the world, which I thought was pretty psychedelic and bizarro, but I guess it would be from an iguana's point of view. And he's trying to put together the mystery, and it involves this girl, Ashley Adams, who was captured by this other Martian we now know from the last issue. And he's doing some sort of weird mad experiments on her, and we find out that he wants to take her form. He's not a green-skinned Martian, so my understanding is that he can't just shapeshift into whatever he wants. He needs like a host. And he has to use teenagers because full adults, I guess their flesh is not malleable enough or something or other. Some science, comic science gobbledygook. And this is all the part where it's explaining it. And it's a pretty scary creature. This guy's art style for a lot of people it's a little too bizarro, but I think it really lends to the alien nature of these characters. It works very much here, not so much here. But the more I read this book, the more, I don't want to say necessarily it's growing on me, but I'm becoming accustomed to it. It's not bothering me. So I'm just now focused on the story, and the art's just kind of there, and I'm really enjoying it. It's something that I don't regret buying, and I look forward to every month. When it comes on the shelf, I want to read the story and know where it's going. So we have this like psychotic weirdo who gets pulled over, and this is part of the case that his partner, I think her name's Mead, just has to do a random stop or whatever. I don't know why plainclothes cops are doing stops. And he's got a gun, and she arrests him, takes him back. John eventually, we have some rehash moments from the previous comic, but he comes back to the station. He doesn't really have a life. His whole life is being this guy, so he does a lot of overtime, and this officer is like, what are you doing back here? He's like, I couldn't sleep. So he was working on the case, and he's interrogating this guy who is really the Martian. Now, it's kind of weird. He says it's not malleable, but this is an older guy, so that kind of left me confused. If you can possess people. Anyways, so Johns is like threatening him and telling him like, I have ways I can look just, lay your sin bare just by looking at you. And of course, any human hearing that is just going to think he's trying to talk intimidating. But this guy is a Martian, and he's like, oh yeah, right, you're the first cop to open his mouth. You think you're the first dick who talks tricky and thinks like he can read my mind. And then it's like, oh shit. And then he's like, what the fuck? Like, I have, he's like, those are unvoiced voices. You can't know that language. But I can. I have for centuries. Sickening you invade this human's mind as if you have the right. Manhunters don't change. So there's a confrontation between them, and he's, revealing his true form. And here we have, I am Charn. You Manhunters froze me and left me for dead. Lucky for me, there's one left to punish. And that guy looks sick. I really like this as well. I know I'm just kind of glossing over this book. I don't want to have this be a long review. I know this is kind of a contentious title. It's very polarizing. You either like it or you hate it. But I kind of just want to bring my viewers kind of just... I'm going to do every issue and just kind of keep you up to speed of what's going on with this book. Does it fall apart like a Tom King miniseries? Or does it get better? And this one's getting better. This one actually has a good plot, good story, good character development, good character background, so you understand and have reasons to feel for characters. This is a good story. This is so much better than Heroes in Crisis. And both of them are supposed to be a mystery, right? Like, this one tells a mystery the way a mystery should. Tom King tells it like it's a poetry contest. But yet, Heroes in Crisis sells 4 times as much as this. I guess we get what we deserve, right? I like this book. I think people are missing out. This is one of the better comics I read, and there's no preachiness to it. There's no weirdo lefty writing. It's just about a bad cop trying to go good in a stranger in a strange land type scenario. And it's different than what I normally read. So yeah, this is Martian Manhunter number 4. Thumbs up. I recommend. Check it out. If you do check it out, if you're buying this book, if we bought it because I recommended it or whatever, tweet about it. We have to share word of mouth on good books, because the good books are what matter. And people don't discover them because most people just go with the flow and buy the big name stuff and don't understand. And so many good books go unrecognized. So thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff that you're supposed to do. Ring the bell, throw quarters my way. I do have a Patreon. I would love to have you be a patron and type in comments, be a part of the conversation, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.